The National World War II Museum is America's museum for that war, as designated by Congress in 2004. We began as the D-Day Museum with my friend Stephen Ambrose with the idea some 25 years ago. But Congress gave us a new name, a new mandate, and we're standing here in the United States Freedom Pavilion, the Boeing Center, which we opened just 4 years ago as part of expansion of our 6-acre campus here in New Orleans. And this museum is one of the great museums of the world now. TripAdvisor ratings have us ranked as the 3rd most popular museum in America this past year and ranked number 15 in the world. So as a history museum, though, we're number 1 because the other 2 ahead of us are art museums. But this museum's mission is to understand the epic nature of World War II and what was at stake for our country, for our freedom, for our democracy. It took everything we had. It was a fight to the finish for civilization itself. It took all of our material resources, human resources, economic resources, and spiritual resources to win the fight against tyranny, against fascism, against racism. And we didn't want the war. We were isolationists. We were not prepared for the war, but we got in it, and after 3 years, we won it. 3.5 years to the end of the war from the time we got in, with the help of our allies. This was a tough slog, and it's one of the great moments in American history. And we've got the responsibility to try to tell the story right, to honor the servicemen and women who served our country and everybody on the home front. So that's why it takes an epic museum to tell an epic story.
This is a very large museum with a lot of buildings. Did you imagine that when it started?
Oh no, it was when it started as an idea in Steve Ambrose's backyard. It was a very modest idea. He thought it would cost $1 million, and I thought it would cost $4 million. We built it on the lakefront by the University of New Orleans, where both of us were teaching at the time, and I was in administration. But 10 years later and 30 million later, we opened as the National D-Day Museum downtown. And then with the congressional mandate, we decided that we needed more land to fill this out. So it was the architects and exhibit planners and myself and our board members who helped to shape the vision of the campus that is evolving now toward its final completion. We're 2/3 of the way there. We have work to do still to get finished, and it's our goal to finish this story while there's still some World War II veterans alive, to know that we're honoring their sacrifice and the sacrifice of those who didn't make it back.
$30 million, where does all that come from?
Well, that was the first $30 million. Now we're on a $325 million campaign. So we're 2/3 through that campaign. We've raised almost $250 million. It's staggering. It's hard for me to imagine that we've been successful despite Hurricane Katrina and the recession. But the funds have come from about 75 million, 80 million or so from Congress and the state of Louisiana, and about 160 million from private and non-public sources, private fundraising. And that's really the momentum that's got to get us over the finish line, is the private sector. The public sector, state and federal, have given us a push and helped us at some critical times. For example, this building, with all the technology and the aircraft and tanks and large artifacts that helped America succeed as the arsenal of democracy. But at the core of this museum are people, the people who built these planes, the engineers, the foot soldiers, the guys who came out of the Higgins landing craft onto the beaches of Normandy or the islands of the Pacific. And so the technology piece of it is one of the strategic challenges that we had to overcome. But we also had to learn how to transport millions of men across vast oceans and to get them ashore. We had to win the air war. So it was a race and a competition for the best technology, the greatest commitment, and those who were fighting for for values that we think made a difference, our democracy and our freedom.
If somebody spends a day here, what do you hope that they get out of it by the end of the day?
Well, they're going to say, first of all, oh my God, especially the young people, I had no idea the scale and the scope of this war. 65 million people killed during World War II, 2/3 of them civilians. It was a horrific, titanic struggle that engulfed the entire globe. And they're going to come away shocked by the realization of how vast that struggle was. And I think they're also going to be inspired. They're going to be inspired by America's strengths and values when our country is united around a single cause. And in this case, it was our freedom that was at stake. And we had been attacked. And as Eisenhower wrote to his brother after the war began, he said Hitler should beware of the fury of an aroused democracy. And I think that's what they'll appreciate, that what we can do when we're challenged, and that we are at our best when we are unified as a nation and as a people around a cause that we believe in.